What's up, everybody? This is your man, DJ Square Knot, and you're tuned into my podcast, Square Knot Live, where we talk about music, real issues, meet great people, and get into fun and engaging topics. With that being said, let's get into it. Welcome, everybody. This is your man, DJ Square Knot, and this is Square Knot Live. And we have a special guest. We have a super special guest. And, I love her to death. She's a good woman. She got her head on straight, and God knows she knows how to set you straight. But she also knows about certain things that we're about to talk about right now. And through that, I want to introduce to you the one, the only, DJBigBody, a.k.a. Courtney James. What's up?
What's up? How are you?
I'm doing well. I want to thank you for joining the podcast. I want to thank you for bringing these topics that we're going to talk about as well. So
thank you for having me.
Yes. So before we get into that, what I would really like for you to do is just tell us about yourself. You could tell us who Courtney James is, and then you can also tell us who DJBigBody is, so that people will identify the two, and then also be able to set it up to where they could follow you and all of that good stuff. So let's let you have the floor.
Well, my name is Courtney, a.k.a. DJBigBody, a.k.a. BB, whatever one you want to call me. I come from Brooklyn, New York, Bed-Stuy, do or die. Yes. Well, Courtney is she's a laid-back individual. She basically speaks when spoken to, not afraid to speak out when, situations arise. And DJBigBody, she is the crowd pleaser, party rocker. So that would be the difference between the two.
Cool beans. So you and we've been talking for a while, and then I was talking to you one day, and you came up with multiple words that I was like, man, I am really out of it. I am like, if I've never heard these words before. I'll put it to you that way, just plain and simple. And then you started explaining them to me, and I was like, whoa. I said, you know what? We got to talk about that. So these three words all tie into a different type of relationship. And those words are manipulationship. As a matter of fact, I'll let you walk through those three words.
Okay. So, situationship, entanglement, and friends with benefits. Mm-hmm. They all mean the same thing. Mm-hmm. It's no commitment. Well, entanglement. Manipulationship doesn't have a They don't have a commitment. Neither of those words have a commitment. Situationship, friends with benefits, entanglement, same thing. Now, manipulationship is when it's more of an emotional thing. When someone is dealing with you, and you don't want a full commitment, a full relationship. They have feelings for you, but you don't, and you ignore those feelings as long as you're still getting what you need or what you want. That's the manipulationship. And it also ties into families. Familyship is what I call them. Mm-hmm. Relationships and friendships. It's a one-sided thing. Manipulationship is one-sided.
Gotcha. Well, and on that note, we'll be right back. What's up, everybody? This is your man, DJ Square Knot, and I got a little something for you.
If you've always wanted to share ideas or just talk about something to share with the world, hey, a podcast may just be the thing for you. Fortunately, you could do just like I did and check out Buzzsprout. Initially, I was intimidated, but Buzzsprout made it so easy with tons of videos and tools that I was up and running in no time. I love the fact that they get your podcast listed on every major podcast platform like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and more. They've already helped over 100,000 people launch their own podcasts, and now you could join the ranks and share your message with the world too. You'll also get a great looking podcast website, audio players to drop in other websites, detailed analytics, tools to promote your episodes, and more. So to start your own podcast and get a $20 Amazon gift card, click the support the show link in the show notes. This lets Buzzsprout know that DJ Square Not sent you, and it helps the show. Peace. Okay, let's get back to it.
I was like sitting here and I was like, okay, do these words actually exist in some type of dictionary? And because I was like just perplexed that there were such words there, very confused, because back in the day we used to just call it friends with benefits, and that covered the whole grommet, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But now they've broken out into their own categories. So when I started looking, I was like, okay, let's look up manipulationship. And it said a relationship where someone is being manipulated and controlled by their partner, where
Yep.
one partner uses something against the other partner to get the other person to do what they want, i.e. emotional blackmail, violence, humiliation,
Yep.
etc.
It's emotional and mental abuse. Yep.
Mhm. And then the next one was entanglement. Now, entanglement, this word has been thrown around. Oh my God, I think I hear this word at least 100 times a week. And it's
Yep.
entanglement simply is a complicated or difficult relationship or situation. So, which opens up the door for more explanation because there is that complicated. It's just like sometimes when you were on Facebook, or it used to be, I don't know if it's still there, but in Facebook, when you selected your relationship status, I've seen some that said it's complicated. Now
Right.
that leaves the door for more explanation, but you have to ponder in your mind, if you don't know that individual, what that is, or be bold enough to ask them about it. And if they decide to speak about it, they speak about it, or you get the other response, which is none of your damn business. So one of them
Right.
is. So,
Right.
and then with
Right.
situationship, I was looking and I saw this, and it said a situationship is a romantic relationship that's undefined or uncommitted. It may be based
Yep.
on convenience or short-term circumstances. That doesn't mean a situationship can have some or even all the trapping or regular relationship, including an emotional connection. So, me,
Correct.
I call that the friend with benefits, kind of deal, because
Absolutely.
there's no feeling there. Feelings could eventually evolve from this thing, but it's one of those things where, it's like, hey, we're going to have a good time. And,
Absolutely.
I got this one over there and you got that one over there. So let's just, when we meet up, and that's how it goes. So
Absolutely.
in bringing these three, where I'm getting ready to go. Dun, 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 dun. And bringing these three, because there are so many people who may be in these types of relationships, or these categories of relationships, but may not be able to speak on them. Do you have any personal examples of any one of these or all of these, and kind of give us in a nutshell? You don't have to go dig deep in your business, because I don't need to be all up in your Kool-Aid, 100%, but, just kind of give me a synopsis of what that relationship or relationships were, and what category do they fall into.
Absolutely. I have had it started off as a situationship, and then it turned into a manipulationship. And once I finally figured out, well, I already knew it was a situationship, But once I finally figured out it was a manipulationship, then I had to bounce. And it took me a year and a half to finally wake up and see it for what it was. And I had to bounce.
Wow. Wow. So in that year and a half, and forgive me if you hear my granddaughter in the back. That's one of the things about this pandemic situation. In keeping it real, sometimes you have ambient noise, and it's usually your kids or something else going on. So forgive me for that. But in this year and a half, where you were in this relationship, and it took you that long to realize.
Sorry, not a relationship, situationship.
Situationship. I'm glad you corrected me on that. Situationship. What was the turning point? What was it that made that light bulb went off and it said, "Ding, you know what? This is not anything of what I thought it was. He is not what I thought it was." It was a he, correct? I have to ask these questions.
Correct.
So,
yes.
So, and what was that turning point? What was that one that said, this is not a relationship. This is actually a situationship.
The turning point where I had to say, get out now. That
if it was, that if you didn't realize it until the end, sure. But before the end, was there any identifiers in there that started kind of turning on light bulbs? And what were those?
There were plenty of red flags. There were plenty of red flags, and I was just like, "Oh, hold on."
Ooh, look at that. She get talking about situationships and automatically get in the dark. Turn off the lights. A little Teddy P.
Some of the turning points were we would always argue on Facebook. It was never a time when we argued in person. We always argued on Facebook, or it was always something in public where he was always trying to, I guess, embarrass me. And for the life of me, it wouldn't I wouldn't click. Like the light bulb would not click. And one of my friends said one day, she said to me, she said, "When are you going to stop allowing this man to emotionally and mentally drag you?" And I'm like, I thought about it. I said, one day I'll stop. And that one day came when I was at his house. He was a DJ as well. I was at his house, and me and his mother were having a conversation while he was playing music. And she said to me, we were just having a random conversation. Then she said, "I wish these young girls would know their worth." And I didn't know if she meant that for me or who, but I took that and I ran because I started realizing then, like, we're not even in a relationship. So why am I giving him all this leverage, mental, emotional, physical leverage over me? Like, what's going on here? And once she said that, that was the last time I seen him. And this was almost 5 years ago.
Wow.
So that's why I'm able to tell someone, friends with benefits, a situationship, entanglement, is not worth any of the heartache that you may be going through.
You're 100% right. And the other piece to this too is that it's not only guys that go, I'm going to say females that go through this, but guys go through this as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I've had myself a lot of situationships per se. And some of which I'll give you an example just so that we can, bounce that out with, from the male side. And that is I was so infatuated with uh, this woman I used to date, her body that, because it was banging, right? So, and we had a great time. We had a great time. I was so infatuated with that part alone that nothing else really mattered. Whenever she wanted something or something like that, it was one of those things where I was like, you know what? All right, here, you know, until it just really stuck with me that all I was getting out of that relationship was something that I could get from any female that actually I could probably be with, that would actually be my true partner. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And as I started thinking about that more and started realizing that, my bank account was getting lower and lower, I had to really, really start saying, you know what, wake up, wake up.
And that's called a manipulationship.
Yeah, yeah. And so it was a kind of a situationship that's transpired into a, manipulationship because of the body. You're right. You're right in that particular case.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned a valuable lesson from that. And through that, a lot of women that have come in contact with me now, to put it to you plain, I tell them straight off the bat, that's why I thank God for my wife. She understands me. She knows that I keep it real. And one of the things I started telling ladies from way as I got older, this was me moving into my 20s. I was already married, and, some part of that situation itself wasn't the greatest. But when I got free and before my marriage, which is when this actual manipulationship was, just to show you how young I was, because I started at a very young age, very young age. The female anatomy was like, oh, to me, you know what I'm saying? So I just, was one of them, but that her body was just like, I was like, oh my God, and I had to really learn. And from that point on, and talking to my uncle, my Uncle Billy, salute to him, and my Uncle James, rest his soul. I started talking to them, and they started explaining stuff to me at a young age. And I was, from that point, when I met a female, no matter how fine she was, I had to find out what was upstairs, to
Absolutely.
see what was going on, because I didn't want you to manipulate me into being in some type of situationship or some type of entanglement. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I had to get really real about it. So that was just one of those things. And as I, so when women would talk to me, I would say, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, straight up with you. I'm cut from a different cloth. I've learned a lot over the days, and this is the deal. The deal is what you have between your legs doesn't have control over me.
Absolutely.
And once I started doing that, then my whole life changed and I became a totally different person. So in
Absolutely.
in listening to what you said, obviously you have become a different person because you haven't talked to this individual in 5 years.
Absolutely.
So in talking to this individual, not in this individual in 5 years, I'm quite sure you've come across several others who have tried to get in those particular pockets per se.
Yeah, I just recently ran into something else.
Mm.
Um, he wanted to start a situationship. And I'm like, yo, dude, that you're not getting that here. Doesn't, I don't know where what you did previous to me, but when you come across my threshold, you got to come correct.
Mm.
It's either you get it together or you step off. And guess what he chose to do? He chose to step off, which is cool.
Well, you know what though?
So you have to learn how to hold people accountable, male or female. Hold them accountable. If they're bringing something to the table that you don't want, then it shouldn't be a problem to tell them there's the door. Get them
Right.
moving.
Right. Right.
And that's what, that situationship / manipulationship has taught me a whole lot. I mean, it hurt in the beginning. Yeah, it definitely hurt. But it also taught me to be a better individual by that. What I want versus what I don't want. Instead of coming to somebody hoping that this situation will turn into something. Situationships never turn into anything besides manipulationship.
I feel you on that. I feel you on that. So, obviously, he saw something that he wanted. So, in one part of you, I know as from what I learned about women is that you want to feel desirable. You definitely want to feel desirable, because if you are able to feel desirable, then that means that there's something in your image that you are carrying every day that someone really enjoys looking at, someone that they really enjoy and are intrigued by, or definitely the bigger word of all of it is the attraction. They're
Right.
attracted to it. So, and they like, oh man, I got to get with that and all that. So that part in your mind is like, okay, he stepped to me, even though he's trying to get a situationship, at least it lets me know that I'm doing something for myself and I'm carrying myself to a certain point where that is the case.
Right.
But the whole other piece to that, one of the things that we have to do, especially in this day and age, especially with everything that's out there in the minds of everybody, they really need to understand this. It's not like it used to be. Like my uncle told me back in the day, boy, you go over there, man, you go down there, you get you get something, man, you get you a little clap or something, you get you a shot, man, go get shot in the ass, and then you all right, man.
Right.
Now
it's a whole new ball game now.
It's a whole new ball game. You can't
Someone just asked, was it a personal convo?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, change your name to who we can say you are, man, because audio doesn't. That's all I see is audio. So what's your name, bro? And this is a conversation that we have on Facebook, as well as we have the group here as well.
Right. So it's nothing personal, not
No.
necessarily personal.
Right. And this is Dave G. What's up, man? You look a little different, Dave G. What's going on? So yeah, Dave G. Hold on a second, Dave G. DJBigBody, she says, have to truly respect yourself before you can truly see the BSers, and the BSers see they can't walk over you.
Absolutely.
Facts.
Absolutely.
And Yvette was like, wow, so it's definitely there. And then Yvette said, this is true. And at 50, sorry to say, I am learning about myself. Hey, it's never too late to learn about yourself.
Absolutely. And getting to that, I was reading a book. Me and your wife were reading the same book. It's called Father-Daughter Talk.
Uh-huh.
So it tells you in Father-Daughter Talk how a father is supposed to engage with his daughter to let her know this is what is acceptable from a man and this is what's not acceptable from a man. And on the other end, he also wrote a book for the men, a guideline for the men as well.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, if you're never shown or you've never been taught how you're supposed to be treated, you're not going to know. You're going to go and find these situationships and entanglements and friends with benefits, and it turns into manipulationships, or you're going to find that because you're not looking deep within yourself to say, hey, I deserve better than this. But if you don't know you deserve better than this this is what you're going to go through until you find out that you deserve better than this.
True that. And I know I'm gonna let Dave G chime in here shortly, but the one thing that I have spoken to several women that have daughters, and that's why my 3 daughters and my granddaughter that's old enough to understand right now, they will tell you, I always say, keep your eyes and ears open. Number one, I said this once before. I said, with the way I used to do back when I was young, and this was before my first marriage, right? Now, think about that. Before my first marriage, I got married at 19. So before my first marriage, this is what I was doing. Check this out. Before my first marriage, I was doing this right here to the point where my mom said, she looked me in my face, God rest her soul, Miss Mabel Wilson. I love her and I miss her, but I am just like her. And she told me, she said, she's 5'1". I was 6'2" at the time. She looked at me and she looked up at me and she says, you're my only son. And I don't like you because of the way you do females. And that rung with me because, like I say, I was out, doing all these different things, and I had to really think about that for a second, because there was a period in my life where, had broken up with one girlfriend and she kind of, had some things going on and I understood her. So I was cool, trying to be as cool as possible about it, but different things affect you in different ways. So after that, I was like, screw it, kind of deal, but, and just went all out. But then when my mom told me that, I was still trying to do a little bit of something, but then the magic happened. You know what that magic was?
What?
If God wants to shake you up, he always puts something in your life to do it. And what God put in my life is we moved to North Carolina and I had my first child. And guess what it was? A daughter.
A girl.
So from that point on, I was like, whoa, I had to really, really, really think about some things. And I said, you know what? I need to change the way I do business, because now I have a daughter. So I can't go out here and do all these things and then disregard the fact that I actually have a daughter, because I'm not going to want anybody to treat her the way I'm treating these women. You know what I mean? So that's what I do now is I talk to all my daughters. I've been telling them since from way when they were small, keep your eyes and ears open. And here's the deal. Look out for this. So in that point, I guess I'm kind of telling, because I want them to have good, honest relationships and be out there. Not saying that it's been perfect, but it's been better than it could have been.
Well, for the most part, what you did was you opened their eyes to themselves.
Yes.
And you gave them that perspective of, this is how you should be treated. Never mind, the game or whatever, but once you recognize the game because of who you are, then you can tell them where to go.
Yeah, no doubt. Dave G. No, go ahead, Courtney.
So you've instilled that what's the word for it? Their confidence. You've instilled their self-worth. It's not many women out here that can say that's what their father did. Not saying that their father were, bad individuals, but they didn't take the time out or find that necessary to do that. And you have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely tried to do that. Yvette said exactly, and DJ Baby D said, along with I was in an abusive relationship, and I learned so well from it that it took my now hubby over 27 years of truly showing he loved me and respect me, and I let him in. And so 27 years, wow. And she said, and Yvette said exactly. And Baby D came back and said, and legs closed. And
Exactly.
and then she said, wow, that hit home with a back slap. So
Yep.
we got DJ Dave G in here. Man, I didn't recognize you. I know what it is. I didn't recognize you with that hat. I'm so used to seeing you with headphones on.
Well, I'm at work today, so
Yeah.
I,
So
I
Hey
work
G, how are you?
very well. How are you?
so and Yvette said
Good.
this is part of my pain. That's what Yvette says. So Dave G, what's your take on manipulationships, situationships, and entanglements?
They only exist if you want them to. I mean, that's really the bottom line. You know, people will do what you allow them to do. And you know, if someone presents you with a situationship, whatever that is, and you don't want to do it, then don't do it. You know, don't go in halfway or whatever percentage they figure a situationship is.
Okay,
If you don't want to,
got
that,
it. But that's
that's my
easier.
first thought. My second thought is there is a great book that came out probably more than 20 years ago, but it's by the sister named Joan Morgan, and it's called When Chicken Heads Come Home to Roost. It is a great book in that it gives an explanation for why women sometimes do quote unquote the crazy stuff that they do. You know, it's based on the fact that the first person you love is your father. So if that relationship is messed up, then all subsequent relationships will be messed up until you come to that realization. So the book is,
Right.
the title is kind of misleading, but the subject matter is fantastic. And you were talking about, you both were talking about how there were certain events that changed who you are and how you handle relationships. And for me, it was that book, because just like Square Knot was doing, when he was before he was married or before he had his daughter, I was out there, doing whatever I wanted to do. And if somebody got hurt, well, sorry.
Right.
But, that book changed my perspective, because I didn't understand that the relationship that you have with your father is determines how you handle relationships. It just never occurred to me. Never occurred to me. And, because I grew up with both my parents in the house, but not everybody does. And
Right.
even when you do have parents in the house, both parents in the house, that doesn't mean you necessarily have a good relationship with, your father or your mother, whatever the case may be. But what I also found is that men's relationship with their fathers affects them as well.
Right.
And really, you need both parents to kind of get a balance. When they say equally yoked, it doesn't necessarily mean that you both are in the same station in life. It just means that you kind of are on the same page in terms of how to raise children.
And I also think that it is very important for children to see how their parents interact, even if
Yeah,
they're not together, is how they should see how they're interacting. A father should show that he, even though him and the mother are not together anymore, he gives her the utmost respect.
Right.
And it goes the same way with the mother. She should show her child that even though me and your father are not together, he still gets my utmost respect. And we
Right.
should work this thing out together.
Right. And see, like in my first marriage, when we got divorced, one of the things I told my kids, I said, look, regardless to our situation, I still want you to make sure that you respect your mother and you love her the same, just as you love me. And I command respect from you, from me. But you also will do this. You
Right.
will do the same thing for her. You will not disrespect her. You will make sure that you honor her, because that is your mother. So I made that very, very clear with a lot of different things. So, and then Costello in the chat, she says, each one teach one to reach one. And then Baby D, I think she has a little bit of a rebuttal to Dave G. She says, technically, that's not true because narcissistic people can fool you.
Right.
So she said, so that's easier said than done. And I think that happens more, believe it or not, because I read.
Let me just respond to that.
Okay.
Narcissistic people can only fool you for so long. They can't maintain it for long periods of time. And I'm talking like years. They just can't. Eventually, they will reveal themselves.
Oh, no doubt. They will reveal themselves. But sometimes by the time that is revealed, I will say this. You may be in too deep, because, it is already, some of the things that you always hear is that men, that's why they had that book, Men Are from Mars and Women Are from Venus, because of the way we think, two different sides of how we think. When a man, I've always been taught, this is where I've been taught, as a man, even when you're a young boy, you were brought up as a young boy to say, look, son, you're going to be a man one day. And as a man, you're going to have to grow up, be a stand-up man, be an asset to your society, but you're going to have to learn how to take care of yourself. But there's also the potential for you to have to take care of a family. So you're going to have to step up to the plate and make sure that you do the right thing for you and your family. Now, I've also sat down and talked with my daughters. I said, hey, there are situations, and there have been plenty of situations in life out there for other women where they grow up, they think about, they see their mom, they see their father, they see the love in the house, they see how their mom reacts and all that stuff. So they see the love, they see the emotion. So when the little girl is growing up, she's thinking about, I want to grow up, I want to be in a great relationship, and I want to be married one day. So they're not thinking about taking care of a family or anything. Their mindset is on something totally different, which leads to emotion. Now that emotion gets stronger and stronger every day. And that's because of how someone treats them. So now if someone is treating them good, even a narcissistic person is treating them well, it's just enough time to capture them to spark that emotion. Because let me tell you, once the emotion has been sparked, she starts to become a little blind to all the stuff that's going on until something major happens. So at that particular point, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. So
that's how the situationship starts.
Yes.
That's exactly how the situationship starts. The woman or man, their emotions become involved. And too deeply involved, and the other partner knows that their emotions have gotten involved, so that then turns that gives leeway to the manipulationship.
Yes, and
because by then it's already too late.
And then here Deborah said, true, but some can for years. Dave G, she agrees with you on that. And then Deborah's Baby D, DJ Baby D. And she also says, exactly, she was telling me exactly. And she says exactly again. And then Yvette says, yes. So it can definitely be here. And we got a couple more people that popped in. DJ Danny T is in here. And we have another individual. They popped up, but we'll find, that's the iPhone. We'll find out what that's about. But this conversation here, Danny T, you got anything as it relates to manipulationships, situationships, and entanglements?
I couldn't unmute it first. Well, yeah, I had a whole history of that stuff, but I mean, it's, I don't know. I kind of get in debate with people about this. They say that, say someone gets in an entanglement or whatever, and they always blame the other person, whatever. But I think sometimes people look for an excuse to to get into something else.
Can you explain that?
What's that?
Can you explain that?
Well, someone would say that they get caught up with someone else, and then the other person that they're with, they say, well, you weren't giving me enough attention or whatever. And sometimes I think some people look for it. They were going to do it anyway. It's just they had to have an excuse why they did it. Whatever. And I always tell, if somebody, one of my friends come at, they tell me, well, they're into something or whatever, I tell them that you should just leave, I mean, why go through all that, and I'm talking from experience, my first marriage, I had an affair on my first marriage, and I was married for 13 years, my first marriage. And it, just all this, the one thing that I tell people, when you cheat, you become the biggest liar, because I was lying every day about everything
to cover up the other one you did before.
Right. Yeah. And also other people were lying for me. That's how bad it got. So I tell people it's not worth it. If you're not happy, it's best you just move on, but if you're just looking for an excuse just to cheat or whatever, then you're going to say, oh, I wasn't happy, and I used to say all that, but I know deep inside there was things I could have done to stop it. I could have said, you know what, I'm not happy about this. So moving forward, I'm going to work on it, whatever. So that's just, my experience from it.
I feel you on that. So
when you were cheating, were you honest with the individual you were cheating with?
They knew.
Did you say this? No.
They knew. I was, like I said, I was.
So it was then her. After she knew that you were married, it was on her to stay or to leave. So it was something going on in her life that made her agree to cheat with a married man, or to be with a married man.
Well,
and and that entanglement came nothing.
Right. Well,
and she knew she was not going to get anything out of that entanglement.
Right. Well, that's true. And the thing is, like I said, that our situation turned out real bad, because she was cheating on her boyfriend, so, and I'm cheating on my wife. I didn't find out until later. And then, you get caught up in feelings and stuff. And then, me and him started beefing with one another, and just a whole lot of stuff happened. He ended up dying, and it was suspicious why he died. So it was known that me and him was beefing. So I had to go through some legal stuff, of being accused, of murder. I mean, that's how bad, that when I was in it that deep, the cheating and stuff. So, I got through it. We ended up being together for probably a couple of years, and then I'd seen that that was just her pattern, because I seen that she was talking to other people. I used to work a lot, traveling out of town. So I just seen a lot of suspicious stuff.
I guess. So here's my question: if she assisted in cheating, what made you think that she would be faithful to you?
Well, that's
Again, I said there is no way you can take a situationship,
mm-hmm.
entanglement, or manipulationship and make that into a real relationship. There's no way you can.
Yeah. Well,
so what made you?
Well, and sometimes you I mean, you in a situation you think you've gone through all this stuff together, and that's why y'all should be together. Which I was.
So you thought. So you looked at her and said, "Hey, babe, I cheated on my wife with you, so we might as well just be together."
Right. Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And so like I said, after I don't even think it was 2 years, might have been about a year and a half. We lived together, and like they say, it's not always the grass is not greener.
So you done messed up you messed up your entire family just to be. You messed up your 80 just to be with a 20.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Crystal Boney, she says, because related to what we were talking about with the relationship shot, she says, because sometimes you grow out of love.
Mm-hmm.
You go out of that grow out the love phase, and it becomes just having love for another. And then J Rock, salute to you. And then we have let me see another one here. She's Crystal also said, I did it to the point where it turned into hatred.
Mm-hmm.
And then Yvette said, but that may not be the thought at the time. That may not be the thought at the time where, what's up, what's going on. But you know what? It's for the moment. You need that. You need something, because something is missing.
I'm sorry.
Something is missing at your home, or wherever you are. Something is missing, and that person brings it to you. If you're in that situation, I'm just trying to decipher this.
Yeah, that's an excuse. I believe now I've never been married. I've had relationships when something is missing in that relationship. Talk that out, and then we revisit that conversation like something is still missing. You just don't do that for me. I think we need to move on. I don't want to hold you back from your great life or whatever you need. But this right here is not working. I don't believe in introducing somebody else into my life to be that 20 that's missing.
So let me ask you this one question.
That 60 that's missing.
Let me ask you this one question. You're in a relationship, and this relationship is just, you feel good in this relationship. When you're around this person, you feel good. Everything is good. It's familiar to you. It's everything except for the bag of chips. But it's something that you really enjoy, you love, and you just, it's something in you. It's something, it has become part of your fabric, but there's a few patches that are just missing. And then you're out one day. Let me just finish. You're out one day, and you're sitting there having a cup of coffee by yourself, just, thinking over your life, thinking over everything. And then this person comes through, and they just say, hello, how are you? I see you're sitting here by yourself. Do you mind I join you? And you say, no, not right now. And they say, okay, well, thank you. Just have a blessed day. Take care. So this guy moves on. But as he's walking away, you look at him and you're like, there's that factor that happens. So it's just like you see a guy sitting there, because I've been out numerous times by myself when I was young, or sitting in a restaurant, for the periods where I was divorced in between. And I'd be sitting in a restaurant, and a young lady would come over to me and she'd say, hi, how are you? I see that you're sitting here by yourself. Do you have anyone here with you? And I'll be like, no, I'm not. I said, but I'm just kind of just doing some things right now, just kind of collecting my thoughts or whatever. And they go, okay. And when she's walking away, she'll like, have a nice day, maybe I'll see you another time. And you see her and she's walking away and she's that image of what you're really attracted to. You get what I'm saying? So those patches, those missing patches, this person becomes those missing patches. They run across you again and you invite them to sit down and talk. Now they fill the void. They fill that void. Now, in your mind, do you just say, do you resist? Do you have the power to resist that? Or does this become something?
See, it can't become something because I owe it to the person that I'm with to either, move on and be with this new person that I found, or just be with the individual that I'm with.
Yeah.
I owe him that much respect.
Gotcha. So Sherry, I should have mentioned this, but Sherry McFadden Chambers, she said, then you show that person what you're missing. I forgot to add that piece in there. Those patches are missing because you have actually already spoken to that individual about those patches, but they are, when I say missing, they're like missing, like you've already addressed this and they're missing, but they are an 80% person. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
You have talked to them numerous times and they're going, well, I do this for you. I do this for you. I do this for you. What else do you want from me? And you got some of this out there that think that, but then when you come to that last little piece and say, look, I need you to seal the deal with just these few things right here. They're not back breaking. They're not going to break the bank. The biggest thing that I've always said is this, and this is why I tell men, if you guys are going to cheat, be prepared, because at first it's fun. Danny T could probably relate to this. At first, woo, it's fun. You're like, man, you know what? Ooh, got a girl over here, got a girl over here, got a girl over here. But then this thing happens. Mm-hmm. They come to you and say, can I see you on Thursday night? Can I see you on Monday night? Can I see you on Tuesday night? And guess what? Guess where you got to be on Monday night, Thursday night, Tuesday night? You got to be at home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now there's this thing called time that always gets in the way of a relationship where you have multiples, because everyone wants your time. And the one thing that we don't have enough of and that you can't always give and you definitely can't get back is time. And once you can't give them the time, things start going south. And it doesn't help in this day and age that we have this thing called social media that will totally destroy you, because I've seen tons, even family members of my own, that will take it to Facebook and put that person on blast.
Yep.
So we got to be careful with that. But time is the deal. I could talk about that one forever. Yep. But getting back to the missing piece, you have already addressed all of that. And they still don't give you that 20%. What do you do?
Now, it depends on what that 20% is. Like, how important is that 20%?
But that 20% is that 20% is the thing that floats your boat. It is like the thing that makes you quiver.
Okay, so give me an example.
It's that.
For a lot of people, it's sex.
Okay, let's baby D's here. Let's go with the sex piece. You have great sex, right? We're gonna get grown up in here for a second, right? You have great sex, but you may only do it in one position or maybe two positions. Whereas in your mind, you want to You want them to hit it from the back. You want them to hit it from the side. You want to go in the bathroom. You want to sit on the counter. You want to go.
We feel where you're going.
You see where I'm going. Right?
Here's the thing with that. When some people say some things like that. My first question is, how were y'all before you got married? Right. Was the sex the same way? Because if it was the same way, boo-boo, you knew. So that tells me that 20%, the other 80 outweighed your 20%. Then how come it's not working now?
Absolutely.
You know, so
that,
you got
that, and also
making an excuse.
It's partial. Right. I'll say this like this. When you first meet, there is a level of, when you first meet, right? I'll give you a prime example. You see somebody, you be like, "Ooh, girl, he is so fine. Oh my God, look at this, look at those abs on him, and look how he's all the muscles and everything. Girl, I could just love to have him all over me." And you get him, and he gets in, and he just gets into it. Y'all get into it, bang, 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 bang. You know. Y'all getting at it, but you're doing it in the same position. But you know what? You're so infatuated at the point that you got him, you forget about the experience. You only have the notion that right now I got him. It's, oh my God, he's here with me, right?
The infatuation wears off.
The infatuation level is off the charts, but you don't get the full experience because you're not worried about it just being, but about the different positions at the same time or whatever, because now you got him. But there's this thing that happens over time. And
it wears off.
It wears off. The infatuation.
It wears off. Wears off. You kind of get complacent, right? You get into one area with that person, and now you're like, where the infatuation wave starts to dwindle, now you're looking for that some more wave starts to increase. But it never does, because he walks around with his shirt on, and you're like, okay, now whereas I looked at this cat about 2 years ago, and as soon as he took off his shirt, I was ready to go. Now I'm like, he can walk across the room, and I'm like, you know what? He still looks good, but you know what? I need a little bit more. So
that's where that conversation comes in at. Like, okay, we've done this, we've done that. I would like for us to try X, Y, and Z. And if that person is not into trying X, Y, and Z, we need to have a conversation about why we're not trying X, Y, and Z. Why does it make you uncomfortable to do this? Or why are you comfortable being complacent in doing that?
Okay.
But also you have to, some people don't do this. You got to make that bedroom your bedroom and make it romantic. B, like sometimes I would, okay, don't faint, baby girl. But sometimes
I'm on the floor now.
Sometimes I would go out to Priscilla's or whatever, and I would buy that cute negligee. I would buy that toy or whatever. And when he comes home, like when he was in the military, I used to call him and go, "There's an emergency. You need to come home. You need to come home now." So the command would let him go. When he walked through that door, I am on the floor, buck naked, with just, okay, stop shaking. Yeah, just a blanket around me, ready to go. Legs wide open, but the blanket over me. So I'm giving them suggestions. Like sometimes you got to help it move along. And then if that doesn't work, then you sit down like, "Look, baby, is there something we need to talk about? Is there something going on?" Because there are times that I've seen it. A lot of people get married. They think they knew who they were. You wind up like one staff sergeant, his wife left him for a woman. And all that time he couldn't understand what the hell was going on. And then that time came and she left him for another woman. So you really got to know who you're with. You got to know them deep down inside who you're with, because a lot of people will hide it. They hide things from themselves thinking this will pass. Oh, I'll marry this person and it'll be okay. And no, it's not okay. Because if that's who you are deep down inside, a hoe is going to be a hoe. Okay. If you are gay, you're always going to be gay. If you're this, you're always going to be that. There is no marrying somebody to try to change that, because then you're lying to yourself. And that is not fair to the other person. But if that's not the case, both parties, like if one is like, "Oh, well, like Knox said, what the hell?" Spice it up. Bring something in there. I will bring hot oil in my bed in a minute. Okay. If I have to put a stripper pole in my room, I'm going to do that.
Oh,
okay.
See,
Got to help it.
so, but see, that goes to where, like I say, you will actually respond to that 20% request.
Mm-hmm.
But you got a lot of people out there that will not respond to that 20%.
And then you got to find out, what's going on or why, because that, to me, that's in a sorts, that's kind of deception, because a lot of people think sex is not important in a marriage. Yes, it is.
Very important.
It's very important.
Let me just read this real quick. Let me read this real quick. Sherry also said, she says, well, in that case, then if you're going to do all that, just stay single. And then James says, is that 80-20% on both parties, because he or she may be lacking on the other side as well. And Yvette says, for me, it's not the sex. For me, it's the mind manipulation and the true colors starting out. When the true colors start coming out, some of the stuff comes out from
and it turns you off.
Bringing, and then Sherry.
Then it's time to go.
Yeah,
it's time to go. If you can't handle that, it's.
And then Sherry says, tell him, show him. And the major of the time, they are willing. And they have some facts there, But like I say, I have to play both sides of this so that in this conversation, people can see,
right.
Hey, we're not one-sided on this, but I understand where you guys come, because hey, it's beautiful when you have someone, you talk to someone, and then you walk through the door, and then she's there, ready to rock. Hey, that's a beautiful thing.
That's a feat, in the military too.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. But then, the flip side to that is you talk to someone, because in their mind, this is where we go back to the manipulation ship here. In their mind, now that individual, that dude that's walking around with all the muscles and everything, and he feels he done beat it up or beat it down, or however you guys want to say, right? Now, he feels that he can walk through, and that's all he has to do. But you say to yourself, you know what? There's still this level, and he has made me kind of fall in love with him, but I still need something else. And then you see this other cat out there, and then, things start to happen. So, sure. And the other piece to this, I want you guys to also understand, in the world of mammals, in the world of animals, in the world of everything that's living, we were the only beings, besides dolphins, I'll say, that were put on this earth and taught monogamy. You get what I'm saying? So inherently, it is in our nature to want to be with more than one. But in our minds, we have to control that ourselves. You get what I'm saying? So when that's in our minds, that's extra work that we have to make sure that we keep. And that part always stays in the front of our minds because of that. But we are still, there's still a piece of us that is still, we still have some weaknesses. And some people, especially narcissistic people, are able to tap into those weaknesses and get us into a manipulationship and get us into an entanglement, get us into a situationship. So we definitely want to make sure that we identify and keep that for sure, because, the 80-20 relationship, 60-40 relationship, whatever that may be, sure, that's fine and dandy, that's out there. The patches are missing and you've already spoken about it, and, they still not fixing it. So you go over here and do that. That's fine and dandy. But here's the thing. Still out there.
But here's the thing. People who, not every relationship or marriage is 100%.
No doubt.
So as I said to Danny T, you've screwed up your 80% looking for your 20%. So when you found your 20%, you had already messed up your 80%. So now you have no choice but to be with that 20% and try to make it the 80% that you just lost. It's like you're always trying to catch up. And you still won't lose out on the end.
Yeah, but remember now, when you are looking at that 20%, that 20% looks like 100%. It's not until after you wrapped up in it.
Well, like you said, the 20% is fun.
Yes.
And then you start saying, oh, you know what, maybe this is better. You know, you start comparing, and then you start giving, like you say, you start giving a little more, giving a little bit more time or whatever, until you cross that line.
Yeah.
You move out and you with someone else. And then, like I said, the other person, they knew you were in a relationship or whatever, but then they start wanting more of your time, as well, and then then when you're with them, then one of y'all might end up doing the same thing over again. It's a repeating cycle, or it might work out. Some relationships have worked out after an affair.
Got you. It may have worked out, but deep down inside, how much trust would either party have for each other?
Exactly.
Right.
My grandmother always said, if somebody is willing to be with you knowing that you are married or you're in a committed relationship, you really should open your eyes to that person, because that says that what they'll, like she said, what are they going to do on you? If they did it to your wife knowing that you were married or whatever, and they were fine with it, they're also going to be fine with doing it to you, moving on, messing around on you. So those are the things you got to be careful with.
Did you say that happened already?
Who, with me?
No, Danny T. Did you say that happened? She wound up.
Yeah, I found out that she was talking to other guys. But I was saying, you have less trust going into that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You already know.
Were you upset when you?
Mm-hmm.
Were you upset when you found out she cheated on you?
Yeah, I mean, I was upset. And not that I, because even with my ex-wife, I don't look back like, dang, I wish I wouldn't have never left. I just saw that if I left, then it was some reason why I didn't want to be there, and that that's the other situation just had me move on. But with but yeah.
Wait, repeat that again.
I'm saying that since I had that affair, and I ended up moving on, I don't have regrets that I left, because that means either there was things there that I really, I guess I probably shouldn't have never been in the situation of being married if something took me away from it that easily. That wasn't,
That sounds kind of narcissistic a little bit.
No. See, listen to what he said. Listen to what he said. He said, okay, the girl that he left his wife for, she started seeing other guys. But although it bothered him, it didn't bother him as much, because from the get-go, the marriage that he was in, obviously there was more to him just stepping out that was there, that really came to the light at that point and made him see that maybe he shouldn't have gotten married in the first place.
Right. Exactly.
So that's not narcissistic. That's sometimes when you step out, it's like I always say, look at something at the 60,000 foot view, the whole situation. You may target in and engage one piece of the situation, but sometimes that one piece of the situation doesn't always fix, and that's basically what he said. He stepped out and had a mistress, but soon after he learned, even though the mistress looking at other guys, that just happened to be a extra piece. But the main piece of him stepping out and realizing that there was still something else that was in the marriage that was still deficient, was still not there, made him realize, you know what? Not only stepping out was the part that made me leave, but there was evidently something else that now I'm starting to sit back and say, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have did it in the first place.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And let me
that's from him.
Yeah, I'm saying with my first wife, she we went to high school together. and she was the first woman I had ever been with, so I never had been with anyone else. And so after, a few years of being, we were together, and there was a lot of things in the marriage I wasn't happy about, but I didn't speak up about it. And I just let it fester for a few years. And then when the other person came along, it was like a light, a bright light that drew you to it,
right?
Whatever. And and then, like I said, I thought it was better with the other person. I found out it was not better with her, but I also saw that my marriage was also not the best situation for me. I wasn't really ready. I got married too early. I hadn't really experienced, been with anyone else or whatever. So, and if we would have worked on it, with the counseling and whatever, we could have got through it, whatever. But I don't look back as, as a regret, and that I made a huge mistake. I just don't think it was just the right time.
Let me go to the chat box real quick. Big Duley, DJ Big Duley said, my virgin ears wasn't ready for this.
Right.
And then
right, baby.
James Askins said, so if you cheat, you don't love your mate. And that's a question that he's asking. And then Sherry McFadden, she shared a very personal, McFadden Chambers shared a very personal deal here. And I'll read this. She put this out. She says, I will say this also. I was a rape victim, and I had to tell my then boyfriend, who liked to talk dirty, I couldn't because of being raped and being talked to dirty. It messed me up. And I asked him to work with me on it. And now, being my husband of 16 years, he stayed, and I can handle the talk from him and love it. So kudos to you, girl. You took that. What you basically did is you took a negative and you turned it into a positive.
She had a partner that was willing to help her.
And he was able, and you had a partner, a true partner, a life partner who was willing to help you out. And that's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. Now, going down the line here in the chat, I have, let me see. Then we got DJ Silent Professor, and he put 20% equals the understanding of a side chick. And then he said, what looks good, feels good, isn't always good. Facts. And then the other piece, and he was just like, nah, to what I was saying. And he says, basically from the point that with Danny T, I guess he was responding, he was just ready to go, so, and this was an easy way for it to happen, I guess. So again, we're talking about manipulationships, situationships, and entanglements. And you can see that this topic here has a lot of meat to it, a lot of beef to it, a lot of everything to it that you could really dig deep into and sink your teeth into, because there's so many different aspects to it. And everyone is going to always have a different meaning to it, a different feel to it. Some people may love it. Some people may like it. Some people may just despise it. Some other people may just be like, this is the joint. But nonetheless, these three categories of relationships are very, very real. And we have DJ Baby D, one of the first female DJs in hip hop culture. She's in here. Always a pleasure to have her. Got my man DJ Danny T. He's here for sure. And then, of course, the one who initiated all of this, the one, the only, really, really, I salute her for coming in and really talking about it. And that's DJ BigBody, a.k.a. Courtney James, a.k.a. BB. So, and we're going to continue this conversation. I just wanted to make sure I put that out there for some who may have not known as I read the chat box. And then Sherry said, because that was his 20%. He loved in women, and I knew it. I'll decipher that in a sec. But in terms of just the whole just relationship wise, it's just that aspect that you have to identify and have to, if you really, really don't want to get caught up, you have to be mindful. You have to make sure you stay mindful of it because it's really easy to do. James said straight up, man, just have an open relationship.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Good way to get AIDS. Anyway.
Open relationships equal open diseases. You don't want to. You don't want to expose yourself.
This is a big topic, man, and shoot, we could talk about open relationships by itself.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you both got to be pretty damn willing to do that.
Yes, indeed.
Right.
Not me.
So
right.
Enough, man. No.
So in your I know we've been here about an hour and a half now, maybe a little over an hour.
Let's keep rolling.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
Let's roll. My supervisor.
Okay.
My supervisor. I went and got my charger at my desk. I walked past my supervisor's office. He's like, "Are you done?" Nope. He said, "All right. Okay. Bye."
So as we continue to talk about this, the manipulationship, let's break down each one of these because I think it's very, very important. Like we've already talked about it a little bit. And like I said in the Urban Dictionary, as well as dictionary.com, one of the key things that came up was emotional blackmail.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. From manipulationship. Yep.
Emotional blackmail.
Emotional blackmail that goes for, like I previously stated, it goes for relationship, actual relationship. It goes for friendship. And it goes for family as well. The manipulationship is one-sided.
Yeah.
Definitely designed for the benefit of the person who's inflicting it.
Yep.
That I would be fearful, especially I'm gonna be honest with you, especially in this day and age. People aren't as forgiving these days as they used to be. You got to think about when you do something like that, and then next thing you know, some goons is knocking on your door, or you got somebody that's just you become. It could flip on you. They could become a stalker.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you guys have ever had a stalker before, but having someone stalk you, it's not good, y'all.
Right.
It's not good. Yeah, everywhere you go, this individual is there, or they write something, or they put something, or they leave something that you see, that that only it could have been them.
Right.
So now it's in your mind that whole time, where is this person? Because this person is watching me. So at that point, guess what it becomes? They start to gain that true power over you.
Right.
And once that happens, it's a wrap. But a lot of different things can come from this. And so what are your thoughts? What are you guys' thoughts about this emotional blackmail and any other situations like stalkers or anything?
Well, I had a stalker a few years ago, one of my exes. We were in an actual relationship, and he just wouldn't let go. He's in every now and again. He'll still. I blocked him on Facebook. He found me on Instagram. Baby, okay, right. He found me on Instagram and started trying to hold conversations with me on Instagram. I'm like, no, this is not gonna happen. So, imagine if we weren't in an actual relationship. I say all to say that. Imagine if, so when we were in a relationship, he had a reason to be emotional. I had a reason to be emotional. When you're not in a relationship, you're pretty much playing with the person's emotions. That's what the manipulationship is. You're playing with someone's emotions, and that can be a dangerous thing.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. Going back to the chat room, Yvette chimed in real quick. She said, that's a no to open relationships. Christa, forever fine and fabulous. Futrell, she says, I'm closed-minded to an open relationship myself. And then DJ Silent Professor said, cousin, really? Sherry, I was in the 80% of what he... I was 80% of what he wanted, but the 20% was the dirty talk. So I didn't have that. But basically, once that came about and she was able to make that go, then everything went well. And then we got DJ Rod flashing here.
Wait, who said that? My cousin said that?
Yes, SP said, cousin, really?
Okay.
And then Sherry said she was the 80% until the 20%, which was the dirty talk, but everything turned out fine for her 16 years later. And then we got DJ Rod Flash in here, and he said, was his name Leonard? And then
his name was not Leonard, but he was Jamaican.
Gotcha. I see that we got DJ Joe Storm. He popped in real quick. I don't know if he had a comment. But as
no, I'm just listening.
Gotcha. In terms of DJ Baby D, you've been married 20. Let me correct this now. You said 27 years it took you to marry your current husband. Is that right?
I think she's on a call.
Oh, okay. So, Rod Flash says,
I'm sorry, I'm here.
So you said it took 27 years for you to marry your current husband?
No, it took my current husband a year for me to get through all that. Before that, I was married for 10 years, and it was an abusive relationship. And I kind of closed down to it. It took my sister to come down from England when we were stationed at Quantico, and she looked at me and she said, what are you doing? Why are you letting this man do that? Because you see, me growing up, I was the type of girl, I don't care. I guess they got the mad black woman from me. I don't know. But she said, you need to wake up. You need to wake up. You're a Zulu queen and you're letting this guy do this. I see this. How come you can't see it? So after she said that, something clicked, and I turned around and I looked at him and I said, brah, you got one last time to put your hand on me. One last time. So I walked out of our quarters and I was going across the street to the MSG battalion, and he came out and he grabbed me. He didn't know I had a butcher knife. And I said, I told you you had one last time. And from that day on, I swore that I was never going to let another man manipulate me or abuse me. So when I got stationed in Hawaii, I met my husband and he liked me, but I looked at him like, I'm not having it. It took a while, and he asked me what was going on. He sat me down and I told him everything that happened. He said, look, you can't treat every man the same because this guy did something to you. You cannot attach his burdens to the next man. That's not fair. And that's a good way for the one that's really for you to go right past you. You guard yourself, but talk to the next guy. So, he worked on it for a while. We went back and forth through his, camis and everything out in front of the house because I didn't want to have nothing to do with it. My mother would come downstairs and put it back in the house. You need to stop this. And I was like, no. And yeah, here we are 27 years later and he's still in the house. So he tried. He really tried. He helped me to get through the pains and everything that was going on. So yeah, you can get through this, but it kind of, your mind, it kind of mentally with some women, it kind of like, no, I don't want to be hurt like that. And, I had a son by this guy, and I used to always tell my son, look, respect your father. what happened between me and your father is between me and your father. You do not base your relationship with your father on what he did with me. I understand the man thing. I understand you're not supposed to hit a woman, etc. But you still respect your father. So about, I want to say about 5 years ago, we kind of got in touch with each other again. And he sat down and he apologized for everything he did. And I asked him why. And he said, because I was just stupid. I was young and I thought I could. And I was like, well, now you know you couldn't. He said, now I know I couldn't. And you were right. If I don't change, I will never be able to be with anyone after you. And to this day, he hasn't. So I was like, well, you know, at least some men can see what they did that's wrong, grow, teach. You know, a lot of our Black men today, the young guys need this knowledge from the old cats, because what I'm seeing today, it's kind of sad on both sides, you know. And I tell some of these young girls, look, the first day he raised his hand to you, or he tell you, let's say you're working and he's working, he go, but no, your money's mine too. I tell you what to spend. That is the day you pack your clothes and you leave, because that is not good. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So that brings in a good segue to some notes that I had made, and as relates to these different categories of relationships. So you're in a manipulationship, you're in a situationship, and you're in an entanglement. All of these can bring very negative experiences.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
now you've moved on from those, but you have all that baggage with you. Ton of baggage. You got a ton of baggage with you.
Especially if you didn't have counseling.
Right. You got a ton of baggage with you. And then you get someone who really, really wants to engage you, and they want to engage you properly, and they want to get to know you. But because of this baggage, you find you're in this state of, I'm not dealing with any more men. I hate men, or I hate women, or
just call it what it is. You're scared.
You know, and of course it's fear. But you have to, at that point, learn how to step back from the situation and re-examine yourself again, and know that not all people are out there like that. You could say it 1,000 times, but let me tell you, I've seen some women that thing where they say a scorned woman,
bitter woman.
That is a real deal. Let me tell you, because when she is in that situation, she doesn't care about jack, especially men. You know what I'm saying? Or whoever she was in a relationship with. And whoever comes after that individual, they feel the wrath.
And that's kind of not fair.
And it is very unfair.
Yeah.
So one of the things that has to happen, like you say, Baby D has said, some of them should seek counseling. But sometimes they could do some soul searching. They can do some, and hey, worse at the least, pray so that you can start getting your mind right. And put yourself, I'll ask this of you. If you're this individual out there, this is your situation, whether you're a male or a female, I ask you that when you get out of these types of relationships, that you circle yourself, you surround yourself with good people who can give you and encourage you, give you encouraging words and help you walk through this. Because if not, you will be so alone forever. And the more that you are alone, then you get into this state of what they used to call the grumpy old man or the grumpy old woman. And you can be 27 years old, but it's just in your feeling, you are in your feeling so hard that you forget that you can live. You still have a chance at life. You still have a chance at happiness. You still have a chance at a growing relationship. Something that could flourish into something so beautiful that you could literally take all that stuff that happened to you and literally put it in a box and say, I'm forgetting about this, put it in storage or whatever. Because, and listen to what I'm saying about box and storage. The reason I say that, and I say that, in kind of a theoretical way, and the fact is, you never forget what happened and where you came from, because that's education. So you don't close your eyes to it, because it will help you see and identify if that same type of situation starts to come again. That's what I'm talking about there. But you allow, if that individual that is there, you allow that individual to come through and let them love you, let them do whatever, and you identify that they are real. If you identify that they are real, let the relationship be real. Yeah. Otherwise, you'll be that same way forever. Because I know some pretty bitter women right now. I'm not going to name names, but I know some pretty bitter women right now who hate on men and try to do everything they possibly can. It's just like the thing that I mentioned about love and about, again, let's go back to the scorned woman, or the woman who down in one of these states, which I won't name as well, where she meets a guy now, and she has a great time with this guy. They get intimate. And then 6 months later, she finds out that she has HIV, all because the guy was in the closet and never shared. So now this woman is like, I hate men forever. This guy done gave me something that is going to kill me, blah, 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 this and that, or I have to take medication for the rest of my life. So instead of her saying, you know what, I need to, anyone I come in contact with, especially men, I need to make sure that I explain to them what's going on, she starts to weaponize this HIV, because she begins to hate all the stuff that this one man did. So now she's going to get back by giving it to every man that she sleeps with.
I read a book about that, but in the book, it was a man who was doing it.
Yeah, it was. I heard about the guy too. I think they arrested him for attempted murder or something like that. I remember that. But I also remember girls doing that too. I mean, it's crazy. It's not fair. It's crazy, and you're sentencing people to death based on what one person did to you. So really, in fact, if you really look at it, they're not angry at all the men. They're angry at themselves because they didn't take better care. So they want to, manifest that on to other people to try to fill a void of satisfying themselves and knowing that, damn, I let this happen. And that is not fair.
And also time wasted. When someone, they feel that they wasted a lot of time with someone, that brings out a lot of that anger as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and seeing that, I tell people, just really think about it. And I will say this, in any relationship, as you learn the individual, don't jump into everything's too fast. Number one, nowadays, and what kills me is that we see these young girls. We just watched a video last night of a very young girl getting her behind whooped by her mom because of what she was putting on social media. That could literally get her killed.
Yeah.
But what we have to do is we have to teach the youth. And by teaching the youth, I will say this though, before I even get back to that. You can't teach anybody something if you haven't already taught yourself. So make sure you teach yourself and you examine yourself so that you can build and become strong with all these situations that you come in. Take each situation that you've ever had and use it as an educational tool. Don't use it as something that, oh, this happened to me and now I'm just going to, continue to go down. Don't go down, go up. Even Sherry said it. I faced my predator and now I have my life back. That's because she took that and she used that and she built strength from it, and she had a partner to help her. And for those, you don't necessarily per se need to be in a relationship to get help. There's so many people out here who will help you. It's just a matter of you actually reaching out to those individuals or just letting those individuals know in some form or fashion that you need help from them. So that's the key there. Now, when you teach these kids, let's start getting these kids in better lights, because you got 11, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds out here right now having babies. You get what I'm saying? And that is, first of all, I'm like, who would want to lay with a child? That's a child, number one. Number two, you have to think about the environment of where the child is. He or she is seeing something that's causing them to do what they are doing. And that means that the individuals that they're watching, they don't have their act together. And it may be because of these three things: the manipulationships, situationship, and entanglements. It may be that. But we don't want that to happen to our youth. So please identify that with your youth. Make them understand that they don't have to be in these particular situations and they can be stronger. You know, like I always told my girls the whole time when they were coming up, keep your eyes and ears open. And if you have any questions, I don't care what time of day or night it is, if I'm not in the same house with you at that particular time, you pick up the phone and you call me, and you and I will have that conversation.
Mr. Squarenut, that not only goes for your girls, but I see that encounter with females that you're close with.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
I see that with females you're close with. That's why I have such a high regard for you.
I appreciate that.
Because of that.
I appreciate that. And that means a lot. You know, I just feel that if I can help you, I'm going to help you. And I'm going to be straight up with you. That's the other thing. People that have talked to me, these females that have talked to me, they'll tell you, if you don't want the real, don't ask him the question. Because he's going to give it to you. You know, but I do that all out of love and respect, you know, and I want to make sure that if I can do anything to put you in a better light, I put you on a different thought process, I'm definitely going to do that. Because the change has to start somewhere. And if I could be part of being that change agent for you, I'm all for it, you know. And that comes from me just having a lot of experience and going through a whole bunch of different types of relationships and all kinds of situations. Hey, I want to thank you, BB, because in this conversation over this past hour and 45 minutes or so, you have made me realize that I've been in all three myself, you know? So I thank you for that. And in talking to you guys, Danny T, Baby D, Sherry, Yvette, you know, we got Robin in here, Flash, Duley, all of y'all, you know, you guys bring something to it. Joe Storm, you know, y'all all bring something to this to make us realize it. For one, it's a real situation. And even if you think you're not in it, you could be in it. You know what I'm saying? So
you could be the cause of it.
Yeah.
You could be the cause of it.
And that's something that you really need to look at too. If you identify yourself, if you look at yourself, you start re-examining yourself, and you're in a relationship of some sort like that, and you start asking yourself a few questions of, you know, do you feel this way? Do you feel like, you know, you are being manipulated, or do you feel, but you see your partner in a type of a manipulated state. If you feel that when you see your girl or you see your man and it's time to hit the sheets as soon as you see him, you know, or of course, if you are in a situation and, you know, you don't feel the emotion, but they feel the emotion, guess what? You may be the culprit. Yep. So definitely something to think about. Joe Storm, you got anything to talk about on this?
Nope. Just listening.
Gotcha. I
You
just want
don't
to
have
make
a
sure.
question, Joe? Nothing?
I ain't got nothing to say. In the middle of doing something.
Gotcha. Well, I appreciate you being here, bro.
Great conversation.
Thank you. So, in terms of Danny T, what's your thoughts on that? In terms of you may be actually be the one that's the culprit to it all.
Well, I think that yeah, like you said, you have to kind of examine yourself to see. Like that's what I was saying. Sometimes you always blame someone else for everything, rather than just kind of stepping back and say, you know what, maybe it's because of how I'm acting or whatever. Things that I'm doing is what brought all this on.
Yeah. Flash put in there. He responded to my deal about kids having babies. He says it's nothing new. No, it's nothing new. But back in the day, like when kids were having babies, your mom may have been 13, 14, 15. That whole situation of that 13, 14, 15-year-old back then is nothing like a 13, 14, 15-year-old today.
Yeah.
It's a
Well, back
totally
then,
different ball.
back then, they may not have had. I know they didn't have the preventative measures, like they do now. So they didn't have like pamphlets and conversations. Parents didn't talk to the kids back then. Have conversations like that.
No.
Nowadays they do. They get it from social media. They get
Mm-hmm.
it from TV, the radio, their friends, and getting it from their friends could be some misguided information.
Yeah.
So that's why it's very important to talk to your kids, males and females.
Indeed, males and females, and this is not one-sided on any one particular sex, because you have just as many males out there nowadays who are in the same situations as males. I had someone ask me. They said, "Square Knot, I got a personal question for you," and it actually also got asked in the group the same way. I think it was Big Duley that asked this question, but I had someone personally come to me because they were feeling a certain way. And the question was, can a male be raped by a female? And the answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
Although, there are situations, and I told him, I said, a male may respond a little bit differently, but a male can be raped by a female, So that's there. And I had to sit down and explain to him certain situations. And he said this. He said, well, I really didn't know if I was. And I said, did you know her? He said, no, I've seen her before. She would come around, and she's like my mom's age, such and such and such. And I said, well, you need to talk to talk to your mom, talk to whoever it is, and he's right at the cusp, being, 16 years old, and I guess in some states, legally 16 years old, as it becomes related to sex, is consensual or something. I don't know. I have to look at that. I'll have to look that up. I always say, if you're not 18, you are a child. That's how I look at it. So, but he said, but it was a little different for me, because when she started messing with me, I got aroused. And I said, well, in your mind, what was the deal? Was it something that you wanted to do, or she kind of forced herself on you? And he said, well, she kind of forced herself on me, because I was like, I was not really feeling it. And I said, well, I'm sorry to tell you, man, but that would be considered a rape situation. Because you didn't want it to happen. Even, just in our shoot, sometimes the wind can blow by at the right point, and things will happen for us. It's just the way it is. It's just how our bodies react. But you have to look at these different things. And that is a prime example of a manipulationship kind of situation. This kid
Yep.
manipulated. And we have to really, really, really start looking at these things and sharing these things and making sure that we start, just like we talk to kids about, like we say back in the day, it was the birds and the bees. Y'all remember that? Now, amongst us talking about the birds and the bees, I think also in these conversations, we need to talk about manipulationships, we need to talk about situationships, and we need to talk about entanglements so that they start to understand at a very young age, so that we won't have these young girls around here half dressed or trying to get extra attention from a guy. But then when the guy gives them attention, all of a sudden they get real scared. But it's too late at that point,
Right.
You've already done the damage. And now you got this guy engaging you to the point where some negative things may happen, and you want to be able to prevent that ahead of time. And that's where our parents of today need to step up. I've been saying this a lot too. There are no more big mamas.
Right.
Back in the day, I used to hear my grandmother say, ain't nothing open past 12 o'clock but some legs. That's what she used to say. And I'd be like, and for a long time, I didn't understand what she was talking about until, she really broke it down. And I was like, oh, snap. I was like, did that really come out your mouth? Because you don't think nothing like that would come out of your big mama's mouth. But guess what? She was kicking facts. Everything that woman said was facts. She just tried to prevent you and give you some wisdom, impart some wisdom into you, so that you would know how to think about these things a little bit better.
And the reason why I agreed to come on the show is I wanted to share my story, and I wanted people to understand these terms are truly real, and to hold people accountable for their actions, and also to say that it's too many baby mamas out here.
Oh God.
Not enough wives. It's too many baby daddies out here, and not enough husbands. It's just way too many. And people need to start seeing their worth. Like, women need to start seeing that they're worth more than just the baby mama terms, or they're worth more than just a situationship, a friend with benefits, an entanglement, a manipulationship. Like, they're worth more than that. Men are also worth more than that as well. So, again, it's not just one-sided. It takes two to tango. So it's definitely not one-sided.
Yeah. And that makes absolute perfect sense. And people need to take heed to that and really understand that this, like you say, it's a real deal. It's going to be out here for a while. And guess what? Unless somebody addresses it, in their arena, in their circle, guess what's going to happen? It's still going to be there. It's still going to be there, and it's going to grow. Because remember, I think out of all three of these words, the first word that was out there because like I say, back in the day, it used to be called friends with benefits. That switched to situationship. Then now we have two more words out here now. We have manipulationship and entanglement. So if we don't start educating each other and start getting it, just think about how many other types of words are going to come out there to explain relationships for the benefit of excuse in some cases and hopefully knowledge in the other. But a lot of people nowadays will lean towards an excuse just to get by, to explain what they've done, not what they're going to do, but what they've done. And that part is the sad part.
And the thing is, people who are involved in any one of these, they are getting absolute nothing besides a good time. You can't tell, your kids, fun stories about those types of good times. Um, you can't. It's basically your bed is always going to be empty because you having those types of good times. Um, it's nothing. You get nothing out of it.
And you hurt a lot of people, you know.
And you hurt a lot of people. You hurt
Not only
yourself.
do your relationship ends, but you end a lot of family relationships, the friend relationships that you had as a couple. Many relationships end because of what you did, and that's
Right.
one of the hard things.
Right. And also, to add to that, I've always been taught it's a man's job to respect a woman, but it's also a woman's job to give him something to respect.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. Because if a man does not see that a woman respects herself, how do you expect him to respect you? He's going to look at her like, you don't even respect yourself. If that's why I tell a lot of young girls when they walk around, well, I'm this and I'm looking at them like, no, what you are is a showboat. My grandmother used to say, give him something that, something to imagine. You're sitting out here with all your goodies hanging out and everything. What is there for him to imagine? And then you look at marriages today, a lot of guys, I mean, not necessarily you men, but a lot of men see, let's use Cardi B. See somebody like Cardi B looking like that. And then imagine, I'm feeding back. Okay, anyway, they see that and they think that, why am I feeding back? Do y'all hear that?
Yeah, I'm getting
what is there for him?
There we go.
What on earth?
I got you.
Okay. It's like, I'm going to use Cardi B, because she's pretty and everything. So when you see her walking down the street, guys are like, oh my God, I'm in love. I want to be with her. I want to marry her. And then it's, you're looking at that. But what about what's inside her mind? What about what she can bring to the table? It seems like a lot of that has gone out the window. So a lot of marriages are not the way our grandparents or our marriages are now, like longevity, because everybody wants that instant. Oh my God, she's fine. But what about when she get home and she had that baby? She's not a 36, 24, 36 anymore, unless you get an extremely skinny woman. But like somebody like me, shoot, Raheem used to call me heavy duty because I had a booty. But, you can look at some people and tell once you hit that baby, you're going to get a little bit bigger. So 9 out of 10, a lot of women don't stay that size. And a lot of men get disillusioned and they want to, oh, look at this. And you fat, and you this and that. Nah, bro, that's what you chose without thinking. So today is like instant gratification. And that's why a lot of marriages don't work. They get married and 3 years later, they get in a divorce. You look at all these actresses and singers married. And the next thing you know, they're getting a divorce. And then you're sitting here going, but why? Like Halle Berry, beautiful woman. How many divorces did she have? So for me, I'm like, if I was a man, I'm not going to hit that because there's something wrong. When you look at a man, look at a woman, and
so
they got all.
So again, like I said, it's something, all of this boils down to there is something going on in the inside.
Yes,
that you're not taking the time to recognize to continue on a venture, something like this. Because we're not going to call them relationships because they're not relationships. These are all adventures. It's something going on with you that you are taking these adventures. And I had to do a lot of self-evaluation. Like, what is wrong with you that you continue these adventures? From one adventure to the next one, to the next one, to the next one.
Like, what are you trying to find?
Right. What is it? What's going on that you can't, just tell them, no, this is who I am, yada, yada, yada. Like, I had to I had to really think about that. So it's something that's going on inside. It doesn't have anything to do with the next person. It has a lot to do with the individual. Why is it okay to be in a situationship? Why is it okay to be a friends with benefits? Why is it okay to engage in an entanglement? Why is it okay that you're allowing an individual to manipulate you? What is it that you're missing within yourself that you are okaying anyone to leave?
And there's a lot of avenues to that. Some people are scared. Some people want love just to be loved. Some people don't want to be alone. You know, there are people that walk in there, they know exactly what they're doing. So it's so many facets to that. We can talk about that till we're blue in the face, because we're never really going to get deep down inside unless we get a person from each faction to come in and tell their stories, and then you analyze it and break it down to see where it's, what's the pinpoint of the problem.
What they didn't understand, and what I didn't understand is what they don't understand is being in any one of these adventures, you're still alone.
Yeah.
You wind up alone. Yeah.
You still wind up alone.
Yeah,
because you're not satisfied. Mm-hmm. Right. You're not satisfied.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. But I think honestly today we're conditioned like that, whether we want to believe it or not. The way society is going and everything, we're kind of sort of conditioned, because if you look at the way our grandparents and all they were back then, all that stuff they used to tell us, and we come on, now we looking back going, there's some validity in what they were saying, but it takes you being solid in your spirit, solid in your respect, to find a likewise person that's solid in his or her spirit and solid with their respect for one another. And then you're willing to compromise. Because even in a marriage, it's not all,
grits and gravy.
It's not. I mean, like, sometimes I look at my husband, I'd be like, if I could, I would knock your nose right off your face. And the next thing, I love you. It takes a lot for that. It takes a lot. So it's a give and take. It's a trusting, but you got a lot to work with yourself to get to that point with somebody else. And like she said, if you're going to keep looking, if you're going to keep doing something, there is something missing in you. And if you don't find out what that is, it's a wrap. Mm-hmm. You're never going to get it.
So
it's a self-destructing road with any one of these. Very self-destructing.
Indeed. So as we move towards a close on this, we have definitely learned a lot more about manipulationships, situationships, and entanglements. And then we had BD come on and share some of her personal stories about, being in these particular deals and how they affected her. And after talking to her and being in this conversation with all of you all, realizing that I've been in these situations too. And on top of that, I may have been the culprit on some of these myself, and I'm not afraid to admit it. It just is what it is. But over the course of time, I have just really learned what works better for me is being monogamous, being with one woman, being a one-woman man. And I'm thankful for the one that I have now, Mrs. DJ Square Knot, Mrs. Anitra Wilson. She's great. She's beautiful. And she has really taught me a lot. I don't admit that very often, that she taught me a lot, and she'll be like, yeah, right. But the fact remains is that I know I'm a better man because of her. So, and I have kind of shifted myself away from these three categories, whether it was being inflicted on me or I was the one inflicting. So I'm thankful for that. So we're going to walk around for the last closing comments on this, and any advice that you can give someone who is listening, just give them some words of advice, some words of encouragement to help them through. And then when they listen to this podcast on my actual site, podcast.squarenotlive.com, or they visit any of the major podcast platforms, at least there will be something that you can say that will connect with them in their particular situation to let them know that'll be all right. So I'm gonna go with the honoree, the topic generator herself, DJ Courtney James, aka DJBigBody, aka BB.
Well, I would like to say thank you again for having me come on your show. The only advice that I can offer anyone, both male and female, is be the best you. Be that whatever it is that you're looking for. Find whatever you're looking for in yourself. Be that whatever you are searching for, and if you do that, you can recognize that in someone else, whomever you're looking for. And don't fall for the okie doke of the situationship, manipulationship, entanglement, or friends with benefits, because at the end of the day of that all, you will be left with nothing. And you will be left alone.
That is powerful. And the key words in there is you will be left with nothing.
Yep,
I'm going to say it again. You will be left with nothing. If nothing resonates with you with what she just said, you need to capture those words. Put it on a t-shirt, whatever. Hashtag it. And then at the bottom put a big body public service announcement. Big body DJBigBody public service announcement. Just like I put you ain't soulful. That's her deal. Mm-hmm. So remember that. You will be left with nothing. So keep that in mind. DJ Danny T, do you have anything for the closeout?
Yeah, just if you do get caught up in that kind of situation or any of those situations, before you start another relationship, you have to learn how to trust again. It took me 10 years to trust, even though I was the one that did the wrong, but it was hard for me to trust anyone else after that for 10 years. And then that's when I met my current wife, and we've been married for 15 years. We're going on 15 years, And so one thing that we've always done for my current wife, if we have any kind of situation, we will talk about it. If we can't resolve it, we will go to a therapist, if we have to, So, you have to, both of you have to give 100% now, not 50%, like a lot of people think. Both of you got to put 100% into it. So you won't come, if you get weak or whatever, then you already have a open line of communication with one another, and you can talk to them about it.
Gotcha. Much appreciated, my brother. Thank you for joining us, for sure. And then we have DJ Baby D, the legendary DJ Baby D of the Mercedes Ladies. What's your closeout?
My closing out is this. I'm going to use RuPaul's words. If you can't respect yourself and love yourself, how in the hell can you expect somebody else to love you or respect yourself? Respect yourself first. Love yourself first. Find your spirit and find what you need in yourself first before you go out there and try to find it in somebody else or expect somebody to see it and give it to you, because that's not going to happen. Ladies, keep your legs closed and your clothes on. You can still find somebody, you can still find that perfect man without showing all your goodies or getting implants and butt shots and stuff like that. Be you, because that is the man that you're saying you're going to love for the rest of your life. He needs to see I could take my wig off. My husband, no. I even taught my husband how to do hair. And he's white. Okay? So he's seen the raw and he's seen the makeup. Be real. Okay? Be real to find real. And if he got 20 kids by 80 different baby mamas, please run. That's all I got to say.
Gotcha. So these are really good words. I see DJ I95, he popped in. I'm not quite sure I think he's just here for support right now. But I will just say, just to reiterate, also
word up.
And we got DJ Joe Storm. Thank you for joining in. We got just like we said, BB said, you will be left with nothing. Mm-hmm. And then Baby D said, be you and be real. Very good points as we talk about these particular topics. Save yourself is what I'll say. Save yourself. Analyze everything that comes your way. Don't just jump to it right off the bat. Because for one, the one thing that you should always keep in front of your mind is that when you jump too fast, you might jump off a cliff. And what I mean by that is this. What you jump into could kill you.
Quicksand. Can
kill you. So you got to be sure that you know what you're getting into. Know the whole situation. Take it as a 60,000 foot view and just really, really look at everything. Look at the bigger picture. And let me tell you this, if you are in that situation to where you just happen to be someone that's really successful and you have a lot of things going for you, don't think that someone is not going to try to come in and try to benefit from what you're doing. And for the life of me, I'm going to say this to all the women that I know and every woman that is listening to me right now. Some men may get upset with me about this. Women, stop taking care of a man.
Oh, God, yes.
Stop taking care of a man that's just going to come lay on your couch and play video games. If he is going to contribute and doing something, and he's coming in there and he's doing his part, that's a different story. That's a different type of taking care of your man. But if he is one that he comes in, you meet him, he drives your car, he eats up the food, he doesn't contribute anything, he's playing video games all the time while you leave and go to work, you don't need him. Get rid of him, because we need to teach these type of guys how to be the men that we have to have, that we were taught to be back in the day. Because until this starts to happen and we start to shift that dynamic, we'll never see what we need to see in our young boys that are coming up this day in a way that we need to change this world, change ourselves, and change the culture. So just keep that in mind. And those are my final words on all of this. This has been truly, truly great. This has been very enlightening. And like I say, this is the Square Not Live podcast. Today's topic, manipulationships, situationships, and entanglements. We really appreciate and salute Courtney, DJBigBody, Big Body. I always get it mixed up here. DJBigBody Jane. I call her BB. I'm so used to calling her BB now. For really coming up with this topic. And then DJ Danny T and DJ Baby D. And then in the chat box, we had Yvette Corbett. We had Sherry Chambers. We had DJ Silent Professor. We had James Roberts. We had, let's see who else we had in here. There was someone else in here that was James Askins. We had DJ Rod Flash, Rodney Smith, DJ Big Duley. I just want to make sure I call out everybody before I close it out. But I want to thank everyone that has joined us. And I hope that for those who weren't able to join us today, listen to this. And they get an opportunity to just sit back and reflect. Crystal Boney, thank you very much. J Rock, Jimmy Reid, thank you very much for coming in. And I just want you guys to listen to this and take heed to some of this information, because it's really important, especially as we start to move in today's society even more. And this pandemic doesn't help because of the lockdowns, because you're sitting at home all the time. you get lonely. Things start to happen. And because you get lonely, you start to get a little bit more lenient. And when you get a little bit more lenient, it's easy for you to fall into one of these pots. So you got to be strong. Don't be weak. Be strong about it.
And I also want to mention, don't be afraid to have standards.
Yes.
Make sure you have standards. And you definitely won't fall into any of these categories if you have the right set of standards.
Have standards. And then Costello Thomas, we really appreciate everyone who's joined today. So again, this is DJ Square Knot for the Square Knot Live podcast. You can catch me on any of the major podcast platforms. So please stay in contact with us. You can also view any of these podcasts on podcast.squareknotlive.com. And don't hesitate to go to Podchaser to leave your reviews on any of my podcasts, because I would really love to see what you think, your comments. And then also suggest different topics that you would like for us to talk about. This has been truly a pleasure. And I would just say you guys have a wonderful day, and just know that you are very much appreciated. And BB and I, we're close like that. And we really, she knows. So it's just been really good. Danny T, my man, DJ Baby D, we've recently met, but we've become really good friends,
Hey.
Joe Storm, I-95, everyone that I mentioned, we all connect. And that's pretty much it. So thank you very much. You guys take care of yourselves, and we're going to be out. So have a good day.
Right. See y'all later.
Take care.
See you later.
All right.